Hi, folks. Sorry for the delay in getting the room set up. We'll just give it another minute or two here while we get the slides up. Thanks for your patience. That looks perfect, Heather.
Okay, good.
Great.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to take this out because it's already like dinging at me.
My name is Heather Tidwell. See, there's an echo on my side, so I think we're good now. And we're going to be talking about burnout here this morning. Really going to be talking a lot about my lived experience.
Heather, I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Can't hear me now.
I could hear you fine.
Still can't hear you. Sorry. It may be if you have Whova open and Zoom open at the same time, just closing out the Whova would work.
Okay.
And I can read off the chat questions for you.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. We're good now? Everybody can hear me?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We still can't hear you. Still no. You sound a little bit like a monster underwater.
I'm able to hear you fine.
Still can't hear you.
We're trying.
There are several of us that can hear you.
I was gonna say I can hear you just fine.
I can hear you too.
Me.
Sound is great.
Also able to hear.
Love technology, especially when we're like all over the place. This is my favy thing, let me tell you all.
At least it's not on Microsoft Teams.
Right. Well, I think what we're going to do, I think we're going to try to get this started because we are kind of running a little bit behind here. So what we're really today, our session is going to be talking about burnout. And for someone like myself who has a lot of experience as a case manager, a social worker, and now a affordable housing developer, there's a lot of different moving parts in our world, and that it's important to think about all the elements to it. So I do want to kind of also discuss this session is going to have some difficult topics to it. We all know that burnout really is something that is different and presents differently in everybody, but there are thoughts of myself when I talk about how my burnout happened that does involve suicidal tendencies and had a couple of different episodes in it that I do want to kind of speak about, but there are essential to understanding what the full picture of lived experience is and what that really means in taking care of yourself. So if they talk about something that's really kind of jarring or something like that, please feel free to kind of step away, do whatever you need to do. But we want to make sure that we still are able to get the full experience and discussion because it is important. I am somebody who struggles very hard with the stigma behind asking for help. And for me, it's something in the world that we live in that I have to be consistently reminded that I am not on an island by myself. There are people who understand my stories, and there are people that are dealing the same drama that I am. So I hope today at least you feel that you have a battle buddy in this that we may not ever meet and we may not ever cross paths. But today, I hope you realize that we're all in something together. So we're going to be kind of talking about this through a circular journey. We're going to talk about where I'm at today in my life, but when I really started to see myself slip through, what was that ending breaking point for me, and how I've been able to get through this. I've seen a lot of questions in the chat about companies being able to support and being able to learn from each other, but also really what was the signs that I knew that I needed help? What did I do to actually get that help? How can I support coworkers, things? So we're going to be talking about all of that stuff here together today. I also believe in this quote from Maya Angelou: if you don't know where you've come from, you have no idea where you're going. So we cannot be in a position to be able to help other people when we don't able to experience and accept our life as it is. That's the whole purpose of this conference, is lived experience. We all bring something else to the table, and we all bring very important things to the table, but that might not be the same as the person next to you, the person across from you, all of that. So we have to be able to be willing to understand what that truly means to know how we're able to move forward through it. But that also believes that we can't keep running from it. We can't keep hiding who we are and what it is that we do. We have to be able to have open conversations without fear of stigmatism and without fear of retaliation, in saying that this happened and this is what I need to be able to move forward in my life. So I am 37 years old. Technically, I turned 37 here soon. I thought I was 37. I'm one of those people. I have no idea how old I am anymore. That's where I'm at in my life. I live in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, I was planning on actually coming out to Cincinnati, but this morning we had a groundbreaking ceremony for brand new construction on 48 units of affordable housing. Yes. So I have been on site at the construction site since 6 o'clock this morning. I came back to the office. I powered through some quick lunch and then got my computer set up ready to go for this. So this is really kind of all of my fun parts of it. I have two dogs. I have an English Springer Spaniel and obviously my terroristic Frenchie. It's really her world. I just am here for it. Other couple of things, though, I'm very important in education. I find that we have to continue to be able to learn and new ideas. So I am currently in dissertation mode for my doctoral candidate with Wilmington University in prevention science. So I believe that if we want to make some change, we have to prevent things from where it was. And that's upstream models and being able to think through as a thought process of, we can't do it while we're already bleeding. We have to think of how do we stop the bleeding. So this kind of is all where everything in my life all comes together in this really awesome, cool package. But that also means that I started somewhere else. As I'm 36, 37 years old, I am a child of somebody who had me in the 80s at 16 years old. So that means in a different lifetime, it was not the cool fab thing to do. It was, my mom and I, she took me out of the hospital in a backpack. And I was the cool accessory to be able to go watch Little Mermaid with all of the friends in high school, because there was a kid. Kid was just 4 months old, but there was a kid. So it was cool. And for me, while her and I have had our ups and downs, as life happens with all mothers and daughters, I didn't choose this work because of pity or passion. I chose it because we had faced those dramas. I remember being at points in our life when we were younger that we had ramen noodles, and that was all we ate for weeks on end. Or we were in the car, or we were bouncing around from friend's house to friend's house to friend's house, couch surfing, doing all of those things before all of those real life shortages happened. So for me, it always felt like the world had given me an opportunity to learn, and I wasn't going to minimize that through the experiences that I had. That also meant that I am really much a boss, all the things. I actually have started my own company called Pivot Forward Properties, where we take buildings and we transform them into transitional housing, homeless communities, whole sorts of things. So I've got a couple of projects where we're taking abandoned malls and making them live, work, play models for homelessness. But we have some also office buildings that we're taking and switching them into places for that moms can learn life skills. So there's a beautiful like kitchen in one of them that's got some really cool how to make a balanced meal for less than $10 for all of your kids and all of your family. How many different ways can you use a thing of bread? How many different ways can you use all of these simple, cheap ingredients that are still healthy to get you your nutritional value into that? Through that, though, I also step in a lot of different roles to be able to run nonprofits for organizations through transitional periods. So right now, I currently also run the Latino Connection Foundation. I stepped into that role in May, and I have a contract through the end of the year to be able to do a transitional model, really kind of make sure that they get funding that they need to move forward and figure out what is it that they should be doing versus what it is that they are doing and where should that really be aligning. So it's not easy. It's not unbusy. As I am currently at the office, my fiance is in the building, is the one next door putting together bookshelves for kids' books to be able to do donations, all the different things. It is more about being authentic in myself. And that was where I had to learn that this isn't going to be perfect. I'm going to show up sometimes looking a hot mess. I'm going to show up sometimes ready to work. But I'm the version of myself that I chose to be. And I'm the version of myself that gets to go out there and be who I am, doing the work that I love because it's my company and it's my name. And if I don't like it, I just ain't going to do it anymore. Knowing that everybody does not have that option, I think that it's a big thing to realize that there's a part where you have to be in tune with your body. This is not something that I can just say just to say it. When your arm goes numb and you're sitting there driving and you go, why do I feel like my whole body is shutting down? Why is it that I feel so anxious that I can't get myself out of bed in the morning? Why is something in the world telling me that everything is wrong? And that was something very, very, very hard for me to realize. But it was something very hard to know. They tell you every time you get on the airplane, when the air masks come down, you put it on yourself first before you put it on anyone else. And we forget that as social workers every single day. Our job is to go out there and help everybody else. But what did we do to take care of ourselves first? Is that yoga in the morning? Is that reading a chapter of a book? Is that binge watching another episode of Scandal before the day really gets started? For me, it is waking up on my own time. I stopped setting alarms because I felt it was too jarring to wake up to something telling me I needed to be up. If my day has to start a little later, my day starts a little later. If I miss that first thing in the morning, I miss that first thing in the morning. But I know that I have to realize I am not lazy. I am not pushing a driver seat for somebody else. I am what I am. And if someone cannot accept that, that's their problem and it's not mine. And so I have done everything to choose myself first and choose where I am in my life before moving all of it forward. That was not easy because I was a case manager during COVID in a homeless veterans population. So I was under the bridge helping all of the people in the encampments. I was the one going to the grocery stores to being able to buy the food for people. I was the one that literally used to have a state police escort when I would go pick up groceries for my clients under the bridge because I was getting verbally and actually physically beaten in the grocery store because I was allowed to get more cleaning supplies than everybody else. And I took that home every single day. I took that home for having a complete stranger spit in my face because I was able to get 2 packs of toilet paper. But I also took it home that I couldn't get these people housed because that was something well beyond me. I cannot work faster than the system at hand is. If there is no available housing, that's not driving or independent of myself. So someone can stay, has to be homeless to be able to qualify for it, but that's not something that minimizes my life because I'm still there making sure that they're good people, that they get taken care of. And that was when I started realizing that what was drivers for my youth and my adolescence was showing back up as re-triggering in the work that I was doing. What I thought was because of passion and a calling to help became an actual call for my own help. And it became so negative and so terrible that I just couldn't keep going forward. I had clients that were really awesome people. For someone who was Preston was he couldn't live alone anymore. His wife had died, they had no kids, but he had SUDS. So he was using everything humanly possible to do whatever it is that he wanted to do. And everybody had concerns about leaving him alone. So as I'm sitting at home trying to be able to make dinner for my people, I have Preston calling me saying, "What are you doing? What's going on? Where are you at? Hey, can you come by and visit me tomorrow?" This is 6 o'clock at night, but I was unable to unplug myself to be in the moment in my house because I felt like he needed me and didn't understand the boundaries that came with it because of the disease that he had. And that was a hard pill to swallow. Where, how do I tell somebody that I'm helping that I need you to stop calling me after 5? How do I tell somebody that I'm trying to make sure that he doesn't kill himself, that he calling me is making me want to kill myself? And it was so raw that we had to end up getting him moved to a different case manager because he just couldn't understand boundaries through it. And he got another case manager after that. By the time that he actually had moved into housing on its own, he was in a nursing home because he needed so many different people and he needed so much constant supervision and people to talk to that he could never be alone again. And that's unfortunate. But that was also a failure in a system long before I got involved. And nobody listened to me along the way. So I felt like he taught me a lesson about there has to be an end to the day. I cannot take my work phone home with me. Yes, emergencies happen, but what is their emergency is not my emergency. Their fire drill is not my fire drill. If it is an actual life or death situation, there are processes and procedures put in place that someone will call my personal phone and 3 other people will deem it as an emergency that I need to be there. That is not my decision to make. That's somebody else's. And that was a hard lesson to do, but I realized that I continue to build into it and build into it and build into it, that right now, I know when I'm done with this presentation, I got about another hour of work, and then I'm done for the day. Because I get to be done for the day, and I get to go experience it, because I started work at 6 o'clock this morning. So I'm able to put those things in place to be more in control of my life. Unfortunately, in the roles that we live in, there's a lot of military trauma, and there's a lot of people who have their lives just not figured out yet. And we live in a world and we live in a society that we are not comfortable with talking about military trauma and suicide as openly as we should be. So when I had this client, Lee, who was on deployment in Afghanistan, there was some crazy stuff that happened to her. I really should not have been the person that should have been her lean in, but she saw this part of herself in me, and so she felt comfortable. And so as she was fighting for the VA and for the system at care to recognize what she needed, she was fighting with me because she felt like she needed to say and express her life, and she felt I was okay with that. I don't know how you tell somebody that you're not okay with being or hearing and listening to them and feeling like you're able to give them a hug, but at the same time realizing that this is just re-triggering you multiple times along the way. And so for her, it was very hard to be able to say, you need a lot more than I'm ever going to be able to give you. You need things that I just cannot mentally, physically, monetarily, all of it give you. You served our country. You served our country very proudly. I am sorry about what happened to you. I am proud that you were able to say your truth, but I cannot help you through those situations. We need to get you the help you need to get you qualified with the right help. And that unfortunately loaded a gun and really tried to put her back into psychiatric care that she was never really able to get back out into society on her own. I can't carry that. That's not, I didn't do that to her, but I could have made a situation a lot worse. And it was hard for me to really to say the VA failed you. It was not me that failed you. And for all of the hate and all of the anger she had against me towards the end of her life, I had to be able to separate that because I don't know what to do, girl. And that was hard. That was super hard. But the one that really struggled for me was the cute little old man that reminded me of my grandfather. I felt like he was, Vietnam veteran, just like my Vietnam veteran. My grandmother died. His wife died. They were very close and very similar in personalities and extinction and everything that they did. And so when he came on my caseload, he had no pride in himself. The man stunk. And I don't mean that in like but he just stunk. He didn't take showers. The dog that he had peed all over the house. And he was getting evicted, not because of non-payment, but because the place stunk. And you could smell it through the hallways and on the floor below him. Everywhere smelled as much as he did. And he was willing to pay for it. He had the money, he was willing to do it. But the apartment complex did not care because at that point, they just needed him gone because they were losing money for everything else that he was causing. And how is it that I sit there and I look at a man who reminds me of my grandfather day in and day out that I just go, I want to help you and I want to make you okay. But I can't sit in here longer than 10 minutes without feeling nauseous. I cannot sit here and try to help you in any sort of situation because you gotta take a shower. We have to do things that are uncomfortable. And that was when I started just to feel all of these moving parts, all of this compression in why are people keep calling me? What did I do to get these phone calls? What did I do to be the person that I am their first, only, and last resort? Because I'm nobody special. So where was I going on this journey? And I realized that the journey was never stopping. Half the time I never ate lunch. Half the time I had no idea where I was. My Outlook calendar directed my day. But then I brought all of it home. I never was able to separate my life, my relationship at the time. He was a veteran. So he was with me and saying, we need to do more for your people. So we're going out and buying Christmas gifts for the kids in the program when we were barely surviving. We're going out and going, it's going to calm down. It has to calm down. COVID cannot last forever. There's going to be houses. There's going to be places to people to move. There's going to be jobs. They're going to get the clinics back open. They're going to do mental health. It's going to be there. We just have to hold on for it. And holding on became a list that kept growing of things that I was willing to say, it's coming, when I realized at the point that I wasn't willing to say, what am I putting on hold for myself at this point? So I was seeing my hair fall out. I was seeing myself lose tons of weight. and was just go, look, I can just do it. I can just do it. I can come home. I can be a little late coming home tonight because I'm going to take this guy to a job interview and it's going to be great because then he's going to have a job and that's one more person I don't have to worry about making sure that they have food this week. I got this. We can do this. We can go. And my heart of hearts said that somebody's got to do it. I can be the one. But I really just kept screwing myself over. Every single time I was going to the grocery store and the grants didn't cover it, I felt like I was putting more of my own money in than I was not getting out. And I felt super guilty. And I felt super wrong. Why is it that I can help somebody else survive when I can barely afford my own rent? I'm getting the phone calls now that my utilities are about to be shut off because I spent last week's paycheck on making sure that family of 4 had a bed. Where does this line draw? And I started really realizing that everything had to happen right now, or now. If I just work 20 more minutes today, that means that's 20 more minutes less tomorrow. And it got blurry. It got confusing. And it got wrong. I cried all the time. I was tired. I was weak. I just was not working the way that I should have been. But I kept saying, I'm lucky to have a job. I'm lucky to get a check. There's so many people in this world that don't even have a roof over their head. I'm still here. I'm still doing it. I'm lucky, right? Right? I'm lucky. I have to be lucky. Because if I wasn't lucky, this would all get taken away. And I just kept pouring from an empty cup. Because that's what we're supposed to do. We're case managers. We're social workers. We're supposed to keep pouring. That cup's endless because we have the golden hearts. We have the bleeding hearts. And that's what we're supposed to continue to do. We're supposed to make sure that they're all good, even at the cost and detriment of ourselves. I laugh at this picture because I tried to commit suicide later that day. And this picture to me realizes the moment that I looked at that and went, who is this person? Because to me, that doesn't look like me. I know it's me, but that doesn't look like me. That was me trying to put on a brave face to somebody who was checking in on me. But I was already gone. I was so far checked out. I already had the life insurances put in place. I already had who was taking over the dogs. I already made sure that everything was there. I made sure that all the money was gone, all the bills were paid, and somebody would be able to make sure to know where to find the body. I was that committed to it. And I knew I fell apart to the point of failure because I just couldn't do it. And it was quiet and it was slow. It didn't happen like a light switch. It didn't happen just out of nowhere. The moment came, but the plan had already been put in place long before the moment that I decided to try. And this wasn't the first time. And I kept going. When I should have got off the damn train, when I should have went inpatient, when I should have 402'd my own self, I stuck with it for the wrong reasons. And so for myself, I just kept going, I got this. I got this. I'm okay. I'm okay. I can be okay, right? But I still had more clients. I still had more things to get done. And there were clients that I felt like were giving me pieces of myself back. You know, Chuck was somebody that everybody told me, he's done. He's going to die. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy. The man's got Agent Orange. He's coughing blood. You are just putting him somewhere for him to be able just to go meet his maker. You're just rolling with it. And for me, that wasn't okay. I'm sorry. I don't care that you want me just to basically put somebody in a home. The man worked. The man did all the right things. And so for something like that, I felt like I was giving him pieces of it because we had an honest conversation. Mr. Chuck, what is it that you want in your final weeks, days, months of your life? What is it that I can give to you that nobody else will give to you? He wanted to travel. So what we did was I spent time and I sat down with him and I got him soared and I got him more Social Security. I got him set up with a bank account. I got him a book bag. I got him a book to travel and we bought him a plane ticket and off he went. I didn't hear from him for years until I got the phone call that he ended up back in country. He ended up at the VA hospital in Texas. And he had traveled the world and he did all the wonderful things. That man lived a beautiful life because I was able to give that to him. And I realized that was something that at that moment, I was struggling with it because I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing. Our job is to house people, not to put them back into homelessness and give them a plane ticket and a debit card to go travel the world. But I saw a man, and when he came back, that was that, world traveler, all the stamps, all the things. So I'm very thankful for the point that I got to give that to him. But in the time frame, I spent a lot of my time and a lot of my effort getting him set up for I knew what wasn't going to come. So it's a give and take. Not all of the stories like that were super great though. And I knew that there were going to be ones that were going to be really, really hard. So there was a gentleman who everybody kept telling me he's never going to work a day. He's never going to do anything. But nobody has the time or effort to sit down and get him a Social Security packet so that way he can get a little bit of money to go and move to a voucher. Okay, cool. He'd been 3 programs before he showed up on my desk. He had done all of these different things. He had a lot of problems. And so as I'm having to do his Social Security packet with him, I'm hearing about the fact that his life was screwed up from the moment he came out the womb. And now I'm backed into it because now I have to hear it, I have to document it, I have to write it up, and I have to send it off for somebody else to read. So now I'm going through these cycles to try to help this guy figure out a way to move on with his life when all I'm doing is just making it worse for myself. And it just, when you go and you have those clients and they're telling you their life and you just feel so nauseous that you go and you just like, as soon as you leave, just puke because it's just, you can't imagine that's what this was to somebody else who you come outside and you're puking your brains out. And you were like, there cannot be something right in the world when this happens to an individual, but then it can't be right because now I have to live it too. And now I have that on my life and now I have that on my soul. And I just really couldn't comprehend what I did wrong. And I'm already struggling and I'm already burnt out and I'm already crying every single day and I'm not eating and I'm not taking care of myself. And the oxygen mask is broken and it's flown out the window at this point. We're driving with no brakes, drunk as a skunk on the highway, not sure how this is going to end. Unfortunately, the situation had ended with I had to get children and youth involved with a client because the kids were trying to run away. And we had to go through 9 months of children and youth being involved at this client's house every single day until a judge walked in and said, what the hell has this system done that this poor girl had to go and try to convince you that these kids are being abused? I see 3 little boys in front of me in my courthouse right now who have black eyes and are smaller than they should be. What did we do wrong? And that was the moment that a judge said, thank you for standing up for kids that are not your own, but it should have never happened this way. And I just kept seeing this wrong, wrong, wrong. Why is it wrong? Why is nobody doing anything? Why are we keep doing this to ourselves? Why are we getting this wrong? And I just kept seeing this beautiful version of me before I was a case manager that was full of life and that wanted to dream and wanted to do beautiful things and wanted to be a part of the change in the world. But I would look at the mirror and go, who the fuck is that? Because that's not me. And just couldn't recognize it anymore and couldn't recognize what had gone wrong. And every time I did, and I had one of those moments, I felt like the only way to create the change was to end my own life. And that's not the right answer, because I should have got off the train long before that. And it's not supposed to be warm and fuzzy, but it's not supposed to be for everybody. And I just really felt like there was a point where there were these invisible systems, and these were these games that everybody else was playing, and my management was playing, and my bosses were playing, and my grant providers were playing. And it was, if I stopped answering the phone, nobody else was gonna do it. So where can I be the one to put the phone down? Where's the one that if I took 4 days off just to go get 72 hours of help getting 402'd, that's the work was gonna just keep piling up, because everybody else in my office had just as much problems as I did. And it just kept going, and just kept going, and just kept going. Everybody kept saying, "You're doing amazing work. You got this. Girl, yes, win. Awesome. Great success rates. Great this." And I just couldn't realize that the cheering was because I was carrying a load that nobody else wanted to do. I was the one that would take the hard clients because nobody else wanted to do it. I was the one to make sure that people got through the program because nobody else wanted to do it. And it just kept going, and it just kept going, it just kept going. And I kept realizing that I couldn't be fine on paper anymore. In a span of a year and a half, I tried to commit suicide 4 times. My partner had no idea what to do with me. My family had no idea what to do with me. My boss put me on leave and told me not to come back, because he said to me, "If you come back, you're gonna die, because you're gonna commit suicide, and I can't have that on my conscience at the pearly gates." It took someone else taking me out of the game to realize how bad I really was. And that was the scariest part. With looking in the mirror and realizing I wasn't looking back at myself. But I hadn't reached out for help. I just kept going. I just kept realizing that it just kept going, and it just kept going, and it just kept going. And I lost everything in me. I lost my will to live. I lost my will to take care of myself. I couldn't even remember what color my hair was. Like, it was so all over the place. I hadn't gone to the dentist in 3 years. I couldn't remember any of it. So that moment that they said, "Don't come back," I slept for weeks. For weeks. And the worst part was, though, that we didn't realize that there's somebody behind there. There's a human there. So as I was sitting there asking, why is it that nobody else told me I needed help? Why is it that nobody actually asked me if I was okay and really meant it? Where was the point that I should have really just realized I was in taking care of other people's problems? And it was a long time before that when I realized that I quit on myself. I quit on myself and realized that I needed to stop saying everything magically is just going to get better. Everything magically is just going to be beautiful again. And it's just going to be this gorgeous life that you have imagined. And it's going to just be sunshines and rainbows. It's just going to be there. And it's waiting for you. And you've put in the work and you've put in the effort, and karma pays back, right? Yeah, no, I realized that that wasn't going to happen. And I realized that I needed to make the change in myself, and I needed to first sleep. And I needed to go get a hair appointment. And I needed to remember what it was like to be a person, but also a person that was comfortable with the clothes that I had on. Yes, I put my pants on the same way as everybody else does, but that doesn't mean that I felt comfortable in the pants that I was putting on. It doesn't mean that it wasn't that I had to put that belt all the way up because I had lost 80 pounds because I stopped eating. There was all these elements of it. It was all these different parts. And it was something that I can't say happened overnight either. Because rock bottom starts somewhere else. But I realized I was the one that was in my own driver's seat. I was the one that could decide to turn the page, to start again for any reason, at any time. Nobody needed to tell me I was allowed to do it. No one needed to be able to say, here's the payment to be able to move it to the next one. The only person who could make that a change and make that effort was myself. And the moment that I realized that that was in my hands was the moment that I realized that I could do something more. So I started screaming it. It is okay to not be okay. And I don't have to apologize for that. It is okay to wake up in the morning and say, I'm not good today. I want to wear my jammas. I want to put on the TV. I want to hang out and watch cartoons all day. It is okay to have those days for myself. And it's okay to turn off my phone and say, that can wait till tomorrow. Mental health, self-care, all the things. But where could I take it and start making these changes to redefine success? In case management, it always was about that end goal. How did they exit the program? It was always about we needed to be able to keep moving. If it was somebody who stayed housed, they exited to housing and they stayed housed for 3 months and they stayed housed for 6 months, 9 months, a year. That's a success. But at what cost does that success come? And it has nothing to do with the fact that I don't really need to be defined by their life choices. The only person who can define life choices is myself. So if I decided to wear a tacky outfit, that was on me. I defined that unsuccessful moment. It had nothing to do with if people were good or not. And so this systematic change started to come into play. The same systems that burn us out are the same ones that silence us because we're not allowed to speak up. We're not allowed to talk. We're not allowed to say, I cannot take on another client. I'm not allowed to help some more people. I need to stay and focus on what I have. So I started adamantly speaking it to everyone. The company that I worked for is one of the largest nonprofits in the area. And so I'm going and standing at an event going, oof. They take their people, chew them up and spit them out because they continue to upload your caseload. They make you make less than $35,000 a year, but that CEO is making $400K. And here's little me making $18 an hour. And I'm only 3 steps removed from her. It wasn't about calming down. It wasn't about just settling down. It was about speaking something into truth that was truly happening and reminding other people, we're not just sitting here surviving. We have goals. We have a life we're allowed to live for ourselves. And we're allowed to do what it is that we choose to do in the most beautiful, conscientious way that we can. And so when I first said to myself, I believe me. I believed that I had problems. I believed that I did not have to be alone on my island. I could say no. What? I stopped apologizing for being a human. I stopped apologizing for the fact that I didn't answer my phone at 6 o'clock at night because I'm having a dinner. Or the fact that I took a doctor's appointment in the middle of the day. I took vacation time to do this. But I needed to do this because it's preventative care. The yearly appointment. I have to do it. Got to get my stuff squared away. But I also felt like I could keep moving forward and rest and reset without feeling like I needed to earn it. If I wanted to go take a nap, I'm going to go take a nap. You don't tell me that I can't not take my nap. You cannot force me to have lunch at my desk. You pay me for a lunch break. I don't have to be chained to a phone or a computer during it. So I started remembering these things. Am I getting something out of it of value? Or am I putting something forward that needed to be replaced with being present? And that's when it all started clicking. And I started realizing there's these beautiful things called boundaries. There's this beautiful thing called do not disturb. It's a gorgeous setting that's on your phone. You literally just push it and all of it goes away for a little bit. There's this once in a lifetime experience that's called life. And the only person that got to decide that was me. And so as I continue to see struggle in my days, in my actions, and being able to reimagine what that meant, it wasn't about going back to that place. It wasn't about taking that person and accepting them as my new normal. It was taking that as my experience for a couple of years and putting back together a different version of myself. But it didn't mean that asking for help made me weak. It made me honest. It meant that I could be a human. And every time a little more peace came in, a little more humanity came in, and a little bit more of the crazy person that I saw in those pictures started to come back. No, I wasn't going bleach blonde hair anymore. That was a little much. But I could be this person that had money again, that didn't have to feel like I couldn't pay my rent. I could be this person that had some sense of purpose without taking it away from myself anymore. So I realized that I was at a different point in the hustle. I still care deeply. I wouldn't have been on site at a construction zone at 6 o'clock this morning for a groundbreaking if I didn't care. It just means that I can't be the person who is involved in all of it anymore. I'll build you the house and I'll get you a case manager and I'll make sure it's 100% grant funded so it stays affordable for 50 years. I just can't be the person in your conversation anymore because I can't be that individual. I cannot continue to produce at someone else's level if I don't feel like it fits me at my time. So alignment was really something that was connected to me, my values, my joy, my people. That's why my fiance is in the next room building a bookshelf right now. That's why my friends come and hang out at the office. That's why that there's all sorts of wonders and joys and laughter in my life, because I'm the one that decides when that gets to happen, not from somebody's caseload and not from somebody else's doctor's appointment and not from somebody else deciding when that got to happen. So I prioritize peace. You know what? If it has to wait another day, it has to wait another day. If it has to pause on it so I can go get my facial, I'm going to go get my facial because my skin is gorgeous, because I pay a lot of money for it. But I'm going to go do that. And I'm going to go put my phone on silent for the hour while I get it done. And it can wait the hour for me to give me. I'm not checking out full days anymore. I'm taking bits of my life back because I can. So I can go do stuff in the morning and I can go and have a black tie dinner at night. I could go ring shopping while I'm working on an $18 million housing project. It's all about the space, what it is that I needed, and what gave me that reason to keep going. So while I may not be full healed, while I may not be okay with everything that I do in my life, I am okay with telling you no. And I am okay with saying, okay, just because you need it right now does not mean I'm going to pull over on the side of the highway to pull out a laptop to get myself connected to a hotspot to get it to you right this second. You can wait 20 minutes to me to be in a parking spot to get it over to you. And if that's a problem, you should have called me 20 minutes ago. It has to be like that sometimes. We have to be that little bit of a bolder person to step forward and say, no means no. And that was when I started realizing that there was somebody behind a title. And my title right now gets to be president. Because hell yeah, why not? But that's because I own my own company. So why not be a president? But that also means that I don't have to be something that somebody else wants me to be. I get to be the person in the crazy pink boots that shows up at a black tie function because I want to be. But it also means that just because I turn off my phone does not mean that you are special enough to make me answer it. So if I'm sitting at home and I am enjoying my evening with a glass of wine and a popcorn, that does not mean that you get to disturb it because you need me right this second. My building is not falling apart. I cannot come and, if it's on fire, I can't come with the hose like I am not a firefighter. I got nothing to give you. It is a boundary because there's that barrier to protect me. I can't do it again, and I won't do it again. But I remembered that there's other things that I had to do. I am not in one-way relationships with clients, with bosses, with careers, with jobs, with employers, with people. If you do not show up for me, why should I waste my time showing up for you? If you don't call and check on me, why should I call and check on you? Why is it that I should go out of my way to help somebody who wouldn't do the same for me? Yes, we're in a line of work that, yes, we are helping people. But if the person that's asking you to go pick up lunch right now isn't willing to go pick up lunch for you tomorrow, there's something wrong with that dynamic. If there's an older woman in your office that checks in on you to make sure you're okay and make sure you ate and make sure you're moving and you're drinking your water, yes, they checked in on you in the way that they know how to check on you. So yes, we should be checking in on those people with us. But that doesn't mean that I need to fix the way that that other person would never give it back to me. So there's a block time. There's all sorts of block time on my calendar. Lunch is standing every single day for an hour. And that's outside of a business lunch. There is an hour every single day that is blocked for me. If that's sitting in my office reading a book, if that's listening to a podcast, or if that's actually going and having a meal with my fiance at the restaurant, or if that's going for a little bit of a drive or walking through Target, that is an hour in the middle of the day that is my lunch. And I'm not working in that because I'm not getting paid to work in that time. But I'm also realizing that I'm checking in. I'm checking in with where I'm at. Do I need more time to do something? Then something needs to come off the plate until a little later. Right now, after this, I've got 3 grants that I got to have ready for Thursday at noon. All the framework of it's done, but the website keeps crashing. So maybe not all 3 grants get put in, but the ones that are more important are going to. And so there's not this machine that's going, yes, go, 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 go. It is this schedule, and it is this process, and it is this calm, and it is this unplugging to remind myself I have to sharpen my axe before I keep throwing it. And that wasn't a baseline anymore. Filling my cup isn't a reward. It's a standard. And we have to be willing to accept that standard. My cup should always be full. End of story. That's it. I don't have to earn my facial. I don't have to earn my vacation. I am no longer waiting until I pause. I'm going to keep moving forward to take care of myself each and every single day. So it is taking care of myself is not an option. the only reason I'm here. If I would have stopped taking care of myself a long time ago, I would have checked out. So it's me in the middle of summer, taking the dogs to go swimming. Yes, the Frenchie swims in a mermaid life vest. Hilarious. Recommend get yourself a dog with a vest. Best thing. Hilarious. But it's also the realizing that I'm not self-destructing. I am choosing my terms. I choose how I show up. I choose how engaged I am. I choose what I do and how I do it. Not anybody else. In this version, though, it gets to be easier because I learned so much over and over and over. I learned that little girl with a 16-year-old mom that used to sleep in the back of the car. She's okay because she made it through that moment. But that moment that used to define me and used to define the work that I needed to do doesn't mean that I can't still go thrive now. It just means something a little different. It means that now I get to be a little bit more of a quirky version and a little bit more of a screaming at the top of my lungs going, "What are you doing?" To realize that these are the calls that I chose to make. And it is okay to just say no. And it is okay to say, help me. And that was really hard. I know these numbers off the top of my head. They are in every single office in my office. They are all over every single affordable housing build that I do. They are all over the community, all the stickers, all the magnets, all the posters, all of it. The resources exist for a reason. If they didn't exist, there wouldn't be a reason for them. Doesn't mean that we have to be the one to use it, but it has to be, means that we have to be the one to tell people about it. So I know we kind of boomed through, but I wanted to leave a lot of time for questions because there were a lot of great questions that were on the Q&A and I did not get to all of them. But I am more than happy to have conversations with people offline. Wahoo is not my friend. So I know that I need to work through being able to do a lot more of that meeting setup and figuring out those. So please feel free, send me emails, LinkedIn's. I write a bunch of articles on Medium. So happy to kind of have any of those kind of conversations as we continue to move forward. But I wanted to spend a lot of time to be able to talk about some questions and things like that. So I'm going to leave this up and I will go ahead. Maddie, is there something they have to do to be able to unmute themselves, or are they just able to unmute themselves?
Folks should just be able to unmute. And I see a couple of hand raises, maybe starting with M.A. Dennis.
Hi, Heather. I'm only speaking to you directly because I don't think you'll be able to see my comments in the Wova app. This was a fantastic presentation. I thank you for sharing your story and your vulnerability. And there were just so many poignant and practical comments that you made. And I really feel blessed to have chosen to come to your session. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, I see Levi.
Awesome. I just want to say I wish there was reactions throughout this because there were so many things you said I wanted to heart react to. But like so much of it just totally online and fit with my journey as well. One being I want to connect with you after because, you know, essentially like there's something getting lost in all the translation, even housing, whether it's lived experience, housing people, messaging people, where the clients, the common belief is rents are high because the landlords and the developers are greedy, right? Now, we know though that more than 90% of the housing supply that gets built is by the private sector, right? So one of my questions that I put in Whova app was like, can we see a future where something like down payment assistance programs are increasing home ownership amongst the frontline workforce can help. I mean, I think the way that I look at it, right, is like we have Airbnbs and stuff like that contributing, but there's not a lot of like I don't know, it's an uphill battle to be like, you got to stop what you're doing and that's going to fix all these other things I care about. But one of the things that I think can naturally impact that is like when we have our local frontline workers who like maybe making close to the, like where basically the rent's not going up every single year. They know, hey, if I choose this job and I choose this career I'm passionate about, I know at least my housing payment is going to be the same, for the upcoming future. So I'm going to pick your brain later on the developmental stuff, but I just was wondering, have you heard any conversations like that?
So I say from the developer side of it, obviously $18 million does not grow on trees. That's a lot of loans, and that's a lot of loan payments. So, but it is also a delay of it. To be able to build an $18 million project, this was 3 years in the work. That was way before I even knew these people. And that's money that was $4 million that was put up front. That has to come off of loans and lines of credit and being able to kind of patchwork a grant to be able to get to financial closing. So while it's affordable, it is not really affordable. So
Right.
there's parts of that goes, and we say that this sector of it is that how can I be comfortable as a property owner that I take all of this rent from people? Well, I'm not comfortable in it. But you know what I know is that $900 that somebody paid me for rent this month went to be able to make sure that their heat still works, that their lights are still on, and that their doors are still completely locked. But that also means that I have a construction manager who thinks that I'm batshit when I say to him that we have to go and help this other nonprofit out who only has $10,000 because their roof's about to cave in, and we need to make sure that they're good. But that's a community center that takes care of our LGBT youth to make sure that they're okay. And he just goes, just give me the card. Just give me the card and give me the address. Just give me the card. I'll go. I'll get it done. We'll get it fixed. And so it's some of those systems of being able to have somebody in the whole network of it who gets some of this craziness done. And so it's not having to make people buy in it with me. It's knowing that the people around me just have no questions in it. So it's this whole system of all of us together. We know our parts in the play.
Totally.
And that's where, my office has a mini fridge, and that mini fridge is specifically things that do not come out until after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's just those kind of elements to these parts that have to be accepted. And so I also believe that there's a lot more research that we can do. And I believe that part of keeping housing stock affordable is that we have to make maintenance and loans more accessible. And we have
Absolutely.
to remind people that grants exist for a reason. And we have to make sure that people aren't scared to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so just to clarify, I was absolutely saying that what we more so need to be doing is even like some of our young people and some of our lived experience people, like giving them that education and empowering them to go into real estate, into development, landlording, property management. So thank you.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Amber, do you want to say something?
Hi, yes. My name is Amber. I am from Kansas City, Missouri. And so thank you, first of all, for your vulnerability and sharing your story. It is refreshing to hear like that transparent, vulnerable aspect of it. And so like my question for you would be, how do we get this messaging understood and felt and communicated like in a way that allows people to get to where you are? And so me personally, so I've been in this field for 15 years and came out of my own lived experience of homelessness and trafficking and my mental health. People think, oh, she's housed and good, so and she's 15 years since that happened. So everything's just perfect for her. Everybody go to her for all things. And, you know, I'm one of several that kind of have that, looking up to in the community aspect, which then carries even more burden on your shoulders, where you're like, how transparent can I really be on these things? And when I saw this session, I just immediately jumped to it because actually this past week we had 2 people in the field in their lives, professionals in this field, and 2 others within the last 2 weeks that have gone into inpatient treatment that is like wild in people's mind. Like it's people you would never even, nobody knew they were struggling kind of thing. But how do we bring this messaging to where it's okay to be talking about, or do you have suggestions of getting things implemented in a community where there's some like safety networks? I know I'm like loading in a bunch of questions here, but basically, how does that leave just us speaking our truth, and the whole dynamic of a community understanding the realities of the burden that frontline workers and people in this field go through to allow us to be okay with taking care of ourselves? Because I can be okay with taking care of myself when I'm hearing you speak, but when I go back to Kansas City, I'm not able to because there's too much pressure around me and no one's going to understand me wanting to take care of myself.
Absolutely. So yes, there were a bunch of things, but the first thing I would recommend, and I would say it for everybody in here, your lunch is your time. So the first thing that that was one of the biggest changes in my life. I removed myself from my phone and my computer for lunch. That 30 minutes of it was me eating and reading a book, or if that was playing a card, or if that was talking to somebody about, oh, you know, this weekend. I always felt like all of those really cool shows have all of those people sitting around at drinks talking about like their life plans and like going shopping and all these things. And I was like, it was never my life. I never got to have that. So that was me trying to bring those things into my workplace. And that's something actually now in my company. We have a table in my office that everybody gets to come and sit and have lunch together. And we just talk about like different clothes and shoes and books and shows and podcasts, all of these things that have nothing to do with what's going on at work and everything to do with a life outside of it. And that was one of the first things that I'm always very adamant about. We got to remove ourselves from work. Lunch is our time, not theirs. The other part of it too, as you realize that there is this level of, I want to say it's survivor's guilt. And that was something for myself that it was hard to say because I had tried so many times to end my own life. And I got myself into a situation that felt like I continued to push it, and push it. I was by myself. I lived alone. Nobody was calling me anymore. Nobody was checking on me anymore. But I realized everybody was. It just wasn't the way that I wanted it or expected it. So as it was situations that we go and we say, I should have done something more. I should have been there. I should have known that there was a problem. I should have known that they needed my help. How do you know? How do you really know? You don't. We try to show up, we try to help people, we try to be involved. We try to be, you know, suicide awareness. You ask them if they're okay. Well, they're going to tell you they're okay. And it's not until it's too late that you go, ooh, wait a second, hold on. No, it is more of that situation where we don't know what that point is to other people. So it's not something that comes through overnight. It's not something that comes through, you know, taking yourself off of the schedule for a little bit longer to go do other things. It is that slow balance that will kind of creep in. Don't push off going in and getting your nails done. Take the time, set it up, block your calendar. That is your time. You do not get paid for more than 40 hours of the week. So why does everybody else get to demand that time back from you? And those people who are around you that don't appreciate that or try to push you to keep going, there's got to be some levels of boundaries of that too. You know, we have these times in our lives where it feels Like everybody's just saying we got to do this together because we're in this together. But who's the person that says, hey, you know what? Let's go see a movie. You know what? Instead of team building where we're trying to like learn, maybe let's all go have lunch. Maybe let's all go out and like, take a walk. And we're just talking about the day of like, it's a beautiful day outside. I wish I was gardening. Oh, I can't garden. I'd kill it. Where do we remember that there are somebody that's in there that's human that we can talk more about just our jobs every single day? I am not construction. So I don't need to be in a construction conversation, but I can show up and sign the paper. So there's these back and forth of it that we just have to slowly remind ourselves to creep in, that it's okay to take that time for us because it's something that was given to us. And I know that that's kind of seems like a little preachy and it's hard when you're in those moments. Start with lunch. Start with your lunch. Remove yourself from your desk. Remove yourself from your email. Remove yourself from your work phone. Block it on your calendar. Give that time back to you. And you'll see slowly a change continue. As you keep holding yourself accountable, these are my 30 minutes. In this 30 minutes, I'm not talking about work. I'm not going to do anything for work. This is my time to be a human. You start feeling it come back. That's where I would really get started on what is it that is your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Don't have anybody else with their hand up, and we are just 1 minute to the end. So did you want to wrap anything up with some last words, Heather?
So I appreciate everybody getting in on here. I really think that, please connect with me afterwards. Happy to have any conversations, happy to kind of talk through things. But also happy to realize that there are reasons why there are medication and there are reasons there are therapists in the world. Get yourself what you need to be able to keep going for it because you're worth it. Okay? You're worth it.
Thank you so much. All right, and with that, the session is over. So thank you, everybody. Hope you have a good rest of the conference experience, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.
Thank you, Heather.